हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणो याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan summarizes the teaching of the entire Bhagavad Gita in this 18th chapter. Bhagwan advises Arjuna that you first follow the path of Karma Yoga. And thereafter, once you gain that knowledge, you pursue the path of Nididhyasan. Because these are the only two paths mentioned in our Vedas, in the Bhagavad Gita also. कि लोकेस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञान योगेन सांख्यानां कर्म योगेन योगिनां. So for the yogis, in the beginning there is a path of karma yoga. When we purify the mind and approach the teacher and gain that knowledge of the self, our karma yoga gets concluded. Thereafter, we should pursue the path of Nididhyasan and gain abidance in that self. So this has been said throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So here also Bhagwan talked about that Karma Yoga as Sattvic Tyaga, that you perform Yajna Dana Tapak Karma, dedicating to Ishvara, without having any attachment, with Nishkam Bhav. This will purify the mind, and thereafter one gains that knowledge, one becomes a Medhavi, and all the doubts get eliminated, and one gains abidance in the self and becomes free. So what do we mean by purification of the mind? What is the impurity? See, at different levels, different impurities are there. At the physical level, our physical body becomes impure, becomes dirty. We take a bath and we clean our body. In the same way, at a subtler level, the senses and the mind becomes dirty through raga, dvesha, various types of kamana, anger, jealousies, etc. So those things also should be purified by following the proper path of karma yoga, upasana. But then at the subtlest level, at the level of our buddhi, there is this impurity which is due to avidya. We have the notion, false notion, that I am the doer of all actions, I am the knower of all knowledge, and I am the enjoyer of all the joys and sorrows. So I, the Atma, is a doer, knower, enjoyer. So that is due to avidya only. I consider myself as karta, bhokta, jnata. So this kartatva, jnatritva, bhoktritva is a mala, is an impurity at the level of our buddhi. So when that impurity also goes away through karma yoga, through shravan, manan, when the buddhi becomes extremely pure, then in that buddhi, that understanding happens with the blessings of the teacher, that I am that Brahma, aham brahmasmi. This aham is Brahma. That understanding happens, and when one follows the path of Nididhyasan, one gains abidance in that, one gains direct realization of the self as Brahma. So that Bhagwan explained in the various chapters, and here also he explained very beautifully that understand all actions are happening in the field of Prakriti. The five factors are there, and Atma is not the doer. Atma is absolutely free from all vikar. So one who comes to understand this, yasya na ahankrit कृतो भावः बुद्धिर्यस्य न विद्यते बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते. So one whose buddhi becomes absolutely pure, in which there is no misunderstanding that I am the doer. Therefore the buddhi doesn't get contaminated with other thoughts and attachments, etc. So buddhir yasya na lipyate, such a person becomes free, gains abidance in his supreme self, becomes free. Then even Bhagwan, to praise such an enlightened person, says that even if this person kills the whole world, he doesn't kill anyone and he doesn't get bound. So this Atma is absolutely free from all modification. It is totally different from all this body, mind, intellect, etc. Here Bhagwan in his Bhashya also removes the doubt. Some people, they have this feeling that Atma may be totally free of all vikar, but identifying with the body, with the mind, Atma must be doing that action. Just as we might not write, but with the help of a pen we write. So I become a writer with the help of a pen, though I am different from the pen. Similarly, some people, they say that if Atma is different from the body, mind, intellect, but identifying with the body, becoming attached to the body, the Atma must be becoming the doer. So Bhagwan says this is not true, this is not possible. He says कि only Atma is totally free from all vikar. Na esha doshaha atmanah avikriya स्वभावत्वे अधिष्ठानादिभिः samhatatvan anupapattehe. Atma being extremely pure and free from all modification, it doesn't identify, it doesn't get attached to anything. It's like sky, it's like space. Space doesn't get tied down to anything because it is so subtle and so free of all modification that you cannot tie the space with anything. You can't have a rope to tie the space. Vikriyavato hi anyaihi samhananam sambhavati samhatyava kartutvam syat. Only those things which modifies, they get tied down, they get contaminated. But Atma is not like that. Natu avvikriyasya atmanaha kenachit samhananam asti. Atma is totally nirvikar, so there is no identification with anything. Na sambhova kartutvam upapadyate. Therefore, this kartutvam, the sense of the doership, cannot be there in Atma. But due to ignorance, one feels, one misunderstands that Atma has become a doer. So that doership is a misunderstanding. Atma doesn't become a doer. The doership is a misunderstanding in that buddhi. So through proper knowledge, when that misunderstanding goes away, one gains abidance in that self. This is said in the Shastras also, in the Upanishads also, in various places, that how Atma is totally free from all vikar. Avikriyatvam cha atmanah shruti smriti nyaya prasiddham. It is very famous in all the shastras, indicating that Atma is totally nirvikar. Avikaryo yamuchyate. Even here in Gita it is said Atma is avikarya. Gunaireva karmani kriyante. All karmas are done by the gunas. Sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Though the Atma is in the body, it doesn't do anything nor gets contaminated. So in this way, in this shloka, the very sara, the very ultimate goal is revealed. Ki sa esha sarva vedartha saraha. The very essence of all the shastras. Nipunamatibihi panditaihi vicharya pratipattavya iti. One should contemplate and understand this. So thus Bhagwan has indicated the nature of this enlightened person who doesn't have this notion that I am the doer. Okay? So yesterday I had given that example. So just to revise that, let me, because the topic which will follow, this understanding this properly is very important. So the scriptures talk about that everything is that Brahma only. The world which we see, the nimitta karan as well as the upadan karan of this world is Brahma. Just as a pot, the pot maker is there and the clay is there. So with the clay, the pot maker makes the pot. So the clay is called upadana karan and the pot maker is the nimitta karan. Similarly, this world is like a pot is created. So who is the nimitta karan of this world? That Brahma. And what is the upadan karan of this world? What is the material? That material is also Brahma. From Brahma only this whole world has come into manifestation. It remains in Brahma and again merges back into that Brahma. So the world goes through the cycle of Utpatti, Sthiti and Laya. So constantly Utpatti, Sthiti, Laya keep on happening in that Supreme Brahma. So that Brahma is what you call, so that Brahma is represented, let us say, by this glass. I have taken a big glass because Brahma means big. So when the whole pralaya happens, when the entire creation goes into pralaya, mahapralaya, then there is no world, there is no jiva, no jivas are there, no world is there, only Brahma alone is there. Sadeva Soumya idam agra asit. Then in that Brahma alone, when that creation happens, the first thing to arise is that Hiranyagarbha. The first jiva to be born is Hiranyagarbha. So the first manifestation happens of Hiranyagarbha's body and mind and buddhi and ahankar. So the creation of Hiranyagarbha's buddhi happens from the Ashtadha Prakriti. So Bhagwan's Ashtadha Prakriti is there, Avyakta, Mahattattva, Ahankar and Pancha Tanmatras. Avyakta means that unmanifest. So from that unmanifest, the first manifestation is of that Mahat Tattva, which is the womb, which is the womb of the Samashti Buddhi. So that Samashti Buddhi appears in that Brahma. So let us, it's like the plain, clear water. So Brahma is crystal clear, and this Buddhi is also crystal clear. There is no difference. So when that Buddhi is there, with the Buddhi comes awareness, with the Buddhi comes knowledge. Because that knowledge happens only when there is Buddhi. So knowledge happens. And what knowledge takes place in the beginning? For that Hiranyagarbha, the knowledge happens that I am. So that the I am vritti arises in the Buddhi. मैं हूँ, aham asmi. Pure. In the pure Buddhi, there is this pure vritti that I am, I exist. And in that I am, that Hiranyagarbha gains that knowledge that I am that Brahma. So Hiranyagarbha is not ignorant, though when he is born, there is some fear in him, but thereafter he gains that knowledge that I am Brahma, aham brahmasmi. So the I am, that vritti, understands, through that he understands that I am really that Brahma. I am Brahma. But he has to do the work of creating this world, so that aham vritti is there, and then from that also arises the panchatan matras. So panchatan matras are there. The samashti mana is there. Then he converts that panchatan matras into stula pancha mahabhut. So stula pancha mahabhut comes. And then the body of that Vaishvanara gets created, and that Vaishvanara samashti mana, samashti buddhi, samashti ahankar is there. And thereafter the entire creation happens. So each one of us, we also have our own buddhi, we have our own mind, intellect, the ahankar, but it's has become very, very contaminated. So not only our buddhi is contaminated with the notion that I am the doer, I am the knower, I am the enjoyer, but our mind also is contaminated with lot of negative emotions, anger, jealousy, greed, passions. So lot of these impurities are there. So in order to remove those impurities, we have to pursue the path of Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga, following this path of Karma Yoga itself becomes more modified, more advanced to become upasana. Various types of upasana also we can do. And the mind gets further purified, antakarana gets further purified and we approach the teacher, and when we, through the teacher, we gain that understanding that I am not the doer, I am not the knower, I am not the enjoyer, I am that pure Atma, which can be understood as pure Aham Asmi. So our buddhi becomes, when it becomes crystal clear, only that understanding is there, Aham Asmi, I am this Atma. And with the blessings of the teacher, I come to understand that this Atma is Brahma. So in that crystal clear buddhi, Aham Brahmasmi understanding happens, and one retains that understanding for a long time. That itself is that meditation, Nididhyasan, one gains abidance in the direct realization that I am Brahma. More about this we will see when we study Nididhyasan, which Bhagwan will explain in the shlokas further. So with this shloka, Bhagwan concludes the path of Karma Yoga, which culminates in self-knowledge and then abidance in that self and moksha. So again Bhagwan has to tell us that we have to pursue the path of Karma Yoga. So in a different way, Bhagwan once again begins this explaining the path of Karma Yoga. And in that, Bhagwan explains to us how exactly the karma happens, what are the propellers of karma, what are the contents of karma, what are the different types of facets which are there in karma, depending on the gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Based on this gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, what type of kartavya karma we should do. So this Bhagwan explains in detail, and once again later on he tells that perform your kartavya karma, your swadharma, and through that swadharma you gain that knowledge and then gain abidance in that knowledge. So later on Bhagwan will explain very beautifully the path of abiding in that knowledge, the jnana nishtha or the nididhyasan. So therefore Bhagwan begins now from the 18th verse, explaining the various features of karma, which the more we understand, the more we will be able to appreciate it and will be able to pursue this path of Karma Yoga more effectively and efficiently. So atha idanim karmanam pravartakam uchyate. So Bhagwan is now telling us what propels an action. So let us chant verse number 18. Jnanam jneyam parijñāta trividha karma chodana karanam karma karteti trividha karma sangraha. Bhagwan says कि jnanam, that is knowledge, neyam means that which is to be known, the object of knowledge, neyam, and parijñāta means the knower. Trividha karma chodana, these are the trividha means three kinds, three types of karma chodana. Karma chodana means propellers of action. See, first Bhagwan had talked about the fivefold causes of action. Means the five factors which are essential for an action to happen. But what is that which initiates an action? All the factors might be there. If I am just sitting quietly, all the factors are there which are necessary to make an action happen. But I might be sitting quietly, but thereafter I start performing action. So what propels the action to happen? What are the factors which initiates an action? That is to be understood. It's called karma chodana. So what are those factors? So there are these three types of factors are there, three kinds. One is called jnanam. Jnanam means jnayate anena iti sarva vishayam avisheshena uchyate. Jnanam here includes all knowledge in general. Knowledge is the one important propeller. We will try to understand this. Then neyam. Neyam is that which is the object which is known. Neyam jnatavyam tad api samanyena eva sarvam uchyate. So all that is that which is known, object of knowledge, is called neyam. And parijñata, the knower. So who is the knower? Upadhi lakshanaha avidya kalpitaha bhokta iti. So upadhi lakshanaha associated with the upadhis, this upadhi of buddhi, mana, indriyas. Because of this association with this upadhis and due to avidya, I have the notion that I am the doer. So with that notion of doership, I become the doer, the knower, the enjoyer, which is avidya kalpitaha, imagined due to avidya. So due to avidya, I consider myself as the doer. Just as as I had given example, so this glass is colorless, but the color is in the waters. But when I don't know, then I consider the glass itself of that color. So that is called. So the water is like upadhi, and to misunderstand the glass itself is of that color is because of avidya, avidya kalpita. So similarly, this water is like the buddhi, mana, indriyas, and all activities and all happen in that mana, buddhi, indriya, sharira, etc. But due to avidya, which is there in the buddhi, there is a false understanding in the buddhi that I am the doer. This I, the self, is the doer. So I am the doer. This doership is a product of avidya. So that doership, which itself is knowership and enjoyership, that is what is called here parijñata, the knower. So knower, doer and enjoyer, they are same. One entity only who is misunderstood as the knower, doer, enjoyer. So this knower, doer, enjoyer, that is I who have misunderstood myself to be a doer, knower and enjoyer, is the parijñāta. He is also one of the three factors which propels action. You have to pay attention. These are very interesting but subtle topics, so I have to pay attention. But I will make it as clear as possible. So these are the three kinds of propellers of action: knowledge, object of knowledge, and the knower initiates the action. For example, I am just sitting quietly, all the factors are there, then let us say, I am sitting at home doing nothing, quietly, in my own happiness. So all the factors are there. What factors? The 5 factors: adhishthānam, tatha, karta, karanam cha prathak vidam. Body is there, karta is there, karana is there, the pancha pranas are there, devtas are there. But no actions have been initiated. Then a desire arises in my antakarana. Due to my past vasanas, a desire arises that I want to eat nice hot pizza. I want to eat pizza to become happy, to gain that joy. Because this desire to become happy, and because of the samskar and vasanas, the thought comes that if I eat this pizza, it's a nice lovely evening and slight drizzle is there, and if I go and have this nice hot, piping hot pizza, I will be happy. So that desire comes in me. So that makes me a bhokta, an enjoyer. That enjoyer gets activated. The sense of enjoyership gets activated within. Bhoktrutva gets activated with this desire. I want to be happy by eating hot pizza. Okay? So when that desire arises, that bhoktrutva is actually at the subtlest level. That bhoktrutva is that anandamaya kosh only. So when that desire arises, then I take a decision. That decision is taken by the buddhi. When I identify with the buddhi, I take the decision that I will go and eat pizza. So that buddhi and identification with the buddhi, that is that Vijnanamaya Kosh, and when I identify, I become Vijnanamaya Atma. Identifying with the Anandamaya Kosh, I become Anandamaya Atma. And identifying with the Vijnanamaya Kosh, I become Vijnanamaya Atma. Then once I decide that I will eat pizza, then the mind gets activated. Mind start thinking, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. Mind does sankalpa vikalpa. It thinks of various options, how to make this possible, eating pizza. So various options it thinks that okay, I should go to that restaurant where they make nice, hot, good pizzas. But then again I think, and then I come to know that, oh, today it's closed. Oh, I can't go there today. So let us think of some other place. Oh, that another new place has come up, but it is little bit far away. By the time I reach there, it will be too late. So is there anything nearby? So let me check in my mobile the close places where I can find a nice hot piping pizza. I am giving all these things so that you can understand. I am not promoting pizzas, but just an example. So this thinking which is happening is the mind which is doing. It's a thinking instrument which does sankalpa vikalpa, which looks at various choices, options. Then the buddhi helps to then select one option. Okay, we will go to this place. That is done, final. It's a nice place, nice environment, nice ambience. I can just sit there and enjoy the pizza. Okay. So once that decision is taken place, once the mind has done its thinking and all, then the pranas are activated. Pranas are activated. Till then I was just lying in my bed, under the razai, enjoying the nice comfortable bed, and all this thinking and all has taken place. And when the pranas get activated, it activates my hands and I throw away that razai, go to the bathroom, freshen myself up, wear a proper dress and all. So for all this activity, pranas are required, but pranas get activated by that. And that intense desire gives that energy also, that bala also. Bala of raga and kama. So I dress up and take my car out and I drive towards this place. So I take the body, because body is required for ultimate bhog. With my mind I have already reached that place, but body should also reach that place. So I sit in the car and drive to that place. So that prana gets activated and I identify with that prana to when it is activated, that is prana, I become pranamaya atma. And then I go to that place. Oh, there is a big queue there. So I have to wait for some time. There's big excitement is there in my mind. And then finally I get a seat. So I become a bit excited, become little bit happy that I finally reached this place and got a nice seat. And that the person comes and gives me the menu card, I get more excited. So that I experience priya, a sort of joy, pleasure, at a initial level, because in that Anandamaya Kosh, joy is experienced at different level as priya, moda and pramoda. So when I get excited and reach there and then order that pizza, select the nice one with nice toppings and all, and also accompanying some drink and something else. So there's big excitement is there in me, and that is the priya. Not only my mind, excitement reaches my body, my mind, everything. Everyone is excited. My heartbeat also little bit hastens. All the kidney and the stomach and the small intestine and the liver and lungs and all of them are getting ready. Pizza is coming, so we should get all ready to help in taking it and digesting it and all. So big excitement is there in the body. So which is priya, it is called. It's a type of pleasure, joy. But I have to wait for some 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So I'm waiting. Then I see the waiter bringing a nice hot pizza, and I become excited. But then he goes to the other table, so I feel little disappointed. It is not mine. And then finally it comes. The piping hot pizza is kept in front of me. So looking at that pizza, I have not eaten it yet, but looking at it, I get more joy. That's called mod, extra joy. And when I smell it and I see the so warm and all hot, I get extra joy. That's called mod. Then I take out one slice, put it on my plate, and sprinkle some nice chili flakes and oregano and all, and pick up that pizza in my hand, that slice. So with every this action, more and more joy happens. I experience more and more joy. And finally I put it in my mouth. Great joy. That's called pramod. That it has reached. The pizza has reached its destination. See, there are the senses. It should touch the senses, then only I will get that joy. See, there are certain things which we can enjoy from a distance, like some object is there, we can just see it and from a distance, eyes. The beautiful pizza has come on the other table, I can just look at it and enjoy. But it doesn't give me complete joy. I hear some person eating, I can get the sound, it also gives me joy, but doesn't give me complete joy. So the eyes and ears bring the object from a distance, but when I start smelling it, it enters my system. When I touch, it touches my skin, and when I eat it, it enters my body inside. Gives me more joy. Okay? So, all this gets activated after eating and all, and then I come back home. So that memory of that remains for some time. It gets etched in me as a vasana, new vasana, new experience, which then activates the further action in future. So the whole process is happened, and again I come and enter my rajai and lie down. I was like that before, so all this thing, action got initiated, and again I am back to where I was. So what initiated this action? That bhoktrutva bhavana initiated this action. Then nyatrutva, the knowledge that where this, that also initiate that action. And that object of knowledge, the pizza, that also motivated that action. So the object of knowledge, the knowledge itself, and the knower initiates an action to happen. This happens at all levels, at all times, in different levels, different intensities. This goes on and on. From beginningless time it is happening, and it is happening in... So I identify with these 5 koshas and enjoy the joys and sorrows of this world. Annamay kosh, pranamay kosh, manomay kosh, vijnanamay kosh, anandamay kosh. All these koshas are in the antakarana only, and that sharira. Atma is beyond these koshas. But due to avidya, I identify with these koshas and consider myself as Anandamaya Atma, Vijnanamaya Atma, Pranamaya Atma, Manomaya Atma, Pranamaya Atma, Annamaya Atma, So this is the thing which propels the action to happen. Jnanam, Neyam and Parijñata. So Jnanam of the world, whatever knowledge I have, and whatever objects, the knowledge of whatever objects I have, and this knower propels constantly different types of actions. So these are called karma chodana. And then the action happens. So the 5 factors get activated and the action happens. But what are the various contents of this action? So that is, Bhagavan says that karanam karma kartati karteti trividha karma sangraha. They are called karma sangraha, means the content of action. See, these 5 factors which make the action happen, the causes of action. The 3 propellers are there which propels the action. And then action, because of that action happens. So Bhagavan has taken the main thing of this, all these factors, the main. So among these 5, the karanam is very important, the instruments of action. Then the action happens, so the karma, the action which happens, and the karta, the doer of this action. So the karta and parijñata and bhokta are same. So the karta, the karma and the karana are the contents of the action in general. Karma sangraha it is called. So karanam karma kartati trividha karma sangraha. So karanam is what? The pancha jnanendriyas, pancha karmendriyas, mana buddhi chitta ahankar. They are the karana, the instruments. Then what is karma? Karma is that which is finally done, the action which happens. That's called karma. So in order to fulfill my desire, the action which happens, ipsita tamam kartuhu kriyaya vyapyamanam. So that karma which is done by this karta to fulfill his desire is what is called karma. And the karta is that sense of doership which is due to the upadhi and due to avidya. So karananam vyaparayita upadhi lakshanaha. So due to avidya, I misunderstand myself to be a doer. So that misunderstood, what you call wrong knowledge itself is the sense of doership. And this doership or enjoyership and knowership propels the action, and they are part of the contents of the action also. So jnanam, neyam, parijñata, trividha karma chodana, and karanam karma karteti, trividha karma sangraha. See, these are very interesting and beautiful thing, because when we contemplate and know this whole thing, we will be able to understand not only how to pursue this path of karma yoga, but also understand that I, the self, is not the doer. It's a machine. It is like a machine which is working. Like to give example of our mobile, so the mobile has got its own thing which makes it work. Once that the action is initiated, the whole action happens there. Suppose you have created a profile on your Facebook, which you activate through your mobile. And if you want to delete that profile, what can you do? Suppose you break that mobile, that instrument, will it get deleted? No, it will not get deleted. If you remove that SIM card and destroy it, will it get deleted? It will not get deleted. It will get deleted if you enter the cyber world and follow the procedure and delete it there. Similarly, this body is like a mobile instrument. Our mind, our intellect are the SIM card and all. By destroying the body, that this profile is like that kartritva bhavna, wrongly created. By destroying the body, means with the death of the body, that profile doesn't get deleted. I am born again. Only the profile picture gets changed, but I am the same person, born again in some other body. If the mind, intellect undergoes modification, change, if it is stopped, if it is changed, and if it is suppressed and all, will the profile get deleted? No. It will continue to exist. But when I enter the system and make knowledge happen in that buddhi, that I am not this doer, knower, enjoyer. I am the Shuddha Atma. Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham. Na cha shrotra jivve, na cha ghrana netre, na cha vyoma bhumir, na tejo, na vayuhu, chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. When this knowledge happens in buddhi, that profile gets deleted and I gain abidance in my own self. I become free. That's called moksha, mukti. So therefore this analysis which Bhagwan is doing like a scientist, because everything is precise, everything is beautiful, logical, and has to be understood properly, then we can do our sadhana well and become free. So the three propellers are there: Jnanam, Neyam and Parijñata. Knowledge, that which we know, the thing which we know, and the knower propels action. If I don't know anything about pizzas and all, then that desire to eat pizza will not arise, and that will not propel me towards that place. But I may know something else, so some other desire will arise and I will get propelled in that direction. Because there is a stock of knowledge which I am carrying from my past, which propel different types of desires and propel different types of actions. So the contents of action are the karana. When it is said karana, it includes, one should understand the adhishthan also. One should understand the different devatas, the different activities of this karana, the pranas and all. Then the karma, the action which has happened, and the karta. They are the trivida karma sangraha. So after giving this whole picture, Bhagwan will now tell that there are three types of jnanam, there are three types of karma, and there are three types of karta. Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. So if we, through our sadhana, if we make them more and more sattvic, we will progress on our spiritual path. So it's a very interesting subject. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana. Contemplate on what you have heard, think about it. Share this video with your friends in various groups so that more and more people come to know it. You can share on your own page also so that your friends and relatives can also watch this. So it is good that more and more people hear about it. Okay? So we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Boliye Syavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.